Live from the Rock Sports Network studios in Rochester, New York, it's your Rochester Sports Show, Rochester Sports Mumblings.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Presented by Salvatore's Old Fashioned Pizzeria. With your hosts, Matt Goldman and John Cargill. And here's your host, Matt Goldman.
All right,
thank you.
Yeah.
What an awesome
Johnny
introduction.
the announcer. Johnny
Johnny.
from Leroy Discount Liquor. Thank you for joining us today. That was awesome. What a way to start the show. We are
That's
so
one of the
excited to
best
have you
intros.
in. Johnny, you were our first ever sponsor.
Yes, I was.
We are 30 shows down. This is our 31st episode, John and John.
Yeah.
John.
John.
Wow.
J and J.
I just think that's
J&J
honestly
connection.
when we started this, I never imagined we'd get to 30 episodes.
But who did? And you look at it, going strong. Thanks to
Yeah.
sponsors like you and viewers like you,
Well, listeners,
listeners.
because it's audio.
And we were gonna get the camera in here.
We still might eventually. Anyways, wow, do we have a jam-packed show for you today? This was one of the most exciting weekends in Rochester sports in a long time.
Oh,
it really was.
without a doubt.
There was so much going on this weekend. You had RIT hockey pulling off one of the greatest upsets in college hockey in the last 2 decades. They're the first RIT, the first 16 overall 16 seed to knock off a number 1 overall seed. They beat Minnesota State 2-1 on Saturday in South Bend, Indiana, and then of course last night, unfortunately, falling to Omaha 4-0. We were talking in the parking lot. I think they just ran out of luck. Honestly,
I think they ran out of steam because look at what it took to beat the Minnesota State at Mankato. I mean, to beat them and the number 1 team, it took a lot.
took everything.
It took everything. I don't think they had it because for them to get beat that bad by Omaha, I don't think that it was that the. I think they were just tired.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know if you watched the game, but it was it was not a 4-0. It was a 1-0 game. It was a 1-0 game.
I saw the highlights.
Yeah, it was a 1-0 game until the last. I think it was like 4 minutes left.
4 minutes.
They scored the
27
second
seconds.
goal, then they scored another goal, and then they put an empty netter in.
Yeah.
It was really a 1-0 game, though. And RIT actually controlled much of the game, especially the third period. The first half of the third period, RIT had the puck in Omaha's end most of the period, just dominating. They just could not get that goal. The story of
the goalie. I mean, from
Yes.
what I saw from the
goalie.
highlights, the goalie was just literally a brick wall.
Ryan Massa, the University of Nebraska Omaha goalie, 73 out of 74 shots in the tournament in the Midwest Regional he saved. That was the story right there.
Yeah, because the thing is, unfortunately, I only could catch the highlights, but it just seemed like their keeper has just been on fire.
And as good as Jordan Ruby, the RIT goalkeeper, played, I mean, he won them that game against Minnesota State. Unbelievable. The saves he's making was incredible. As good as he played in the Minnesota State game, this Ryan Massa probably one-upped him, played even a little better yet last night in the Midwest final to beat RIT.
It just shows that this is going to be a very interesting tournament.
Omaha going to the Frozen Four, their first appearance in the Frozen Four. You know what? Listen, for RIT, they got nothing.
Great season.
They got nothing to be ashamed of.
They turned it around.
They after starting off really poorly, they turned around to win the Atlantic Hockey Conference, and then making just an incredible statement to college hockey that they're for real. Wayne Wilson and this group is for real. These guys, just because Atlantic Hockey doesn't get a lot of respect because it's Atlantic Hockey. It's not the Big Ten. It's not the NCHC. It's not the WCHA. But I think now Atlantic Hockey is going to get a little more respect.
And I find it interesting at how little respect RIT was given being on that schedule. I mean, it was almost laughed at. I mean,
there were some writers. I was listening to Chris Lurch and Ed Tresker, both who we had on the show. They're the WITR 89.7 Voice of Tigers, right? They were saying that there were a couple writers that were writing that RIT did not even belong in this tournament.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I saw that. Like I'd look it up, and like a lot of people are like, like one of them said that it's just gonna get ugly for them. They're gonna get blown out, and I'm like, this is this is gonna be great because I actually thought they were gonna make it, for the Frozen Four again. because
I thought after
really
they
thought,
beat Minnesota State that they were going to.
I thought that they're going to get so. But the thing is, I think it makes sense what happened. It's great. I think they made the statement they needed to make just by beating, the #1 seed Mankato. Just by beating them, I think they made a real big statement that's not going to be forgotten in quite some time.
And, we had Wayne Wilson on the show last week, and he sounded pretty calm and confident, actually.
Yes, he did.
Listen, I'll be honest, I didn't think they had any chance.
No, you didn't. You did. You said, they're going to get blown out. And I said, I don't think so.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right. I don't remember you saying that, but
I remember you clearly saying they're going to get blown out.
I remember myself. I gave them no chance. I was thinking they were going to lose like 6-1, like the RIT women did in Minnesota,
Yeah, it was just...
I should have more faith in Wayne Wilson. He's incredible. An incredible coach. RIT is so lucky to have Wayne Wilson. Lucky.
This program,
our city is so lucky.
This
to have
program
Wayne Wilson.
is going to be a big program.
And not
Give it
only
time, it's going to be a big program.
It already kind of is. And not only did they just
size-wise, but I mean skill-wise.
Right. And not only did they really make a name for Atlantic hockey by beating Minnesota State, they also made a name for Rochester. I mean, everyone knows Rochester for the Amerks, right?
Yeah.
But people are now going to start to know Rochester for RIT.
Oh yeah.
And this is a big deal.
Yeah, this is going to be. I mean, it's a legitimate D1 program, and it's going to grow. And next thing you know, I mean, this could lead to more D1 sports in the area.
That would be the hope. I don't know if that'll ever
happen.
happen.
I'm not saying it will, but it could.
I'd love to see RIT or U of R get D1 basketball. I think
RIT, if anyone would get that.
I don't know. I don't know if RIT really is much of a basketball school. I think it would be U of R. And I think U of R has a bigger basketball arena, actually. I think they have like a 2,000-seat arena. I don't know. I don't think RIT has anything very big.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know.
That's the one thing that we're missing in Rochester. Honestly, we have everything. Mm-hmm. The only thing we don't have is D1 basketball and football.
Give it time.
I think it could happen. I really think it could happen.
Give it time. D1 AA football maybe too.
Speaking of how John, we have everything in Rochester. This is the unique time of year where kind of all the sports overlap. And Saturday was a very unique day. We had 7 of our teams, of our professional or
only in Rochester,
D1 teams,
folks.
7
only
teams
here.
In action on Saturday. We had the Flash defeating Syracuse University 8-1 in a preseason game. The Red Wings shut out Norfolk 1-0 down in Florida. The RazorSharks, we got to talk about this, won the
championship.
PBL championship, 135-118.
To our sponsors, the RazorSharks.
Over the Lake Michigan Admirals. RIT hockey, as we just mentioned, 2-1 over Minnesota State. Biggest upset in college hockey in recent memory. The Rhinos opening their season at New York Red Bull 2.
Did you go to that, Johnny?
A 0-0 tie.
2. No, I did not. I was working like I always do.
Did you watch that game?
I did manage to catch the last half hour of it, and, well, they defended well.
Yeah. I mean, you have to not allow a goal. But
what was the score of that game? I didn't catch
0-0.
0-0.
And then the Nighthawks setting a record of
worst
utility.
loss.
They tied the NLL record for least goals scored in a game, losing 16-3 to Edmonton. And then the Amerks defeated the Crunch 2-0 Saturday. So
I still can't believe that.
But before we go into all of our teams, I don't think there was another city in North America. I'd be surprised if there's another city that had 7 teams playing in one
What
day.
other city has 7 teams
We have more than
to field?
The only teams that weren't playing were the Lancers and the Rattlers.
Well, I'm saying, what other city has that many teams?
And speaking of the Rattlers, Tim Soudan, coach of the Rattlers, will be joining us on the phone in like 15 minutes. So that'll be fun. But yeah, amazing, right?
But there was that indoor soccer World Cup, and I know at least 2 or 3 of the Lancers.
Joey Capinos was playing for Team USA.
He was playing goal. Yeah,
they
won, didn't they win?
Yep, Team USA won the World Cup.
They won the World
5-3
Cup.
over Mexico.
But what happened with Canada?
What?
Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't think they did very well, right?
No, they did well. What happened was they made it to the I think it was the quarterfinals, the first round of the playoffs, and they were supposed to play against Romania, and they withdrew from the tournament. They withdrew.
Why?
They didn't even play the game. Probably would have won. At least it would have been competitive.
Yeah, they would have beaten Romania, I think.
Probably, yeah. Dominic Cicluna was coaching Team Canada. and maybe he could tell us a little.
I was
bit
going to
more
say
about
why
what
don't we call
happened.
Mr. Waza, because controversy always surrounds Mr. Waza. I mean, Dominic, I know you're listening.
All
He
right,
has a very interesting.
I'll
life,
see if I can get
definitely.
that done.
Yeah, I'll
But,
say I know you're listening, Dominic, and please inform us as to what happened.
Guys, I honestly didn't even know this.
Didn't?
No, I didn't hear. I didn't know that. So they withdrew.
Yeah.
They withdrew from the tournament, and Romania went on to
Very
the
mysterious.
next round. They got knocked out by Mexico. I think it
Mexico,
was.
yeah.
Then USA and Mexico were in the final. Do you know what the final score was?
5-3. 5-3 for USA.
A little bit of a low-scoring game for indoor soccer.
Yeah, that sound about normal for the tournament. Most of the games were fairly low scoring.
Okay.
There was all right. So I actually wanted to mention how much I love this tournament just because it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. All right?
Chaotic, really.
There was a game I was watching last Wednesday, the Russia-Canada game. The Russian assistant coach got ejected. He got red carded for making a fist at the referee. Like this.
That sounds like something like, it's borscht soup.
So
Was that the game where the keeper scored?
Yes, and then that's the game where the Canadian keeper scored what was looking like it was going to be the game-winning goal from his own penalty area.
What was
It was
Canadian
off a
keeper's
punt,
name?
though. Is that even legal?
It was a drop kick.
It was a drop kick.
A drop kick.
Oh,
He drop kicked it.
Oh, like
and
in
just
rugby.
booted it right over the Russian keeper.
And that's a goal.
For some reason,
The Russian keeper was so far off his line, and
Yeah,
you see he
for
does
some
like a
reason, he
backward
was really far
somersault
off
to
his
try
line.
and stop
Right,
this
and
thing.
he
It was
couldn't.
hilarious.
A simple catch, straight up past the keeper. What was his name?
Huh?
Not Marvin James.
Marvin James.
Marvin James.
Marvin James.
Marvin James. Then that'll be sorrows aplenty
Yeah,
and
so
disappointments
that was
aplenty.
that was just not. That got on ESPN SportsCenter.
It
by the way.
did. It did. Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I don't
and they
think too many
they showed
keepers-
Dominic as well on SportsCenter, and he was wearing he had his dreads and
Taken by Matejalvan.
Our
And
favorite clip
goalkeeper
as
coming
our
all the
viewers
way.
know. Listen.
And
Poor
shooting
Marvin
it forward.
James. I don't
Goalkeeper's
think
gonna
any
come
keeper
forward.
has really lost as many
And that's
games as he has.
a goal. That's a goal. The ball cleared by Kitson to goalkeeper Malvin James. A simple catch straight through his hands in the back of the net. Disappointment aplenty, and it is sorrows aplenty also.
There have
Coach
been some
Baron
games
Edwards.
where Malvin
Oh,
James
listen.
made about 40
My
saves.
favorite part of
He's
that
really
clip-
not a bad keeper.
my favorite part of
He
that
had a
clip
bad team though.
is how the announcer's like you could tell this is an epic moment in Antigua's history. The other team's goalie just scored the tying goal, so he's like, that'll be disappointments aplenty. And then you can hear he's like thinking in his head, how do I compound this? And then about 5 seconds goes by, and it'll be sorrows aplenty as well. Not just disappointments, also sorrows.
I just like it how everyone in Sticky Wicket Stadium is just like,
Sticky Wicket
what?
Stadium.
What just happened?
They didn't
What
care.
just-
Dude, they were so stoned. They didn't care. Are you serious? The people didn't even know that. They thought that Antigua scored. They thought Marvin James scored.
No, they showed some clips of the fans, like maybe for 2 seconds on that video.
looked-
They looked disgusted.
They did. They were like-
looked
Really?
disgusted.
Were they
Well,
mad?
didn't you just
They
hear
were
but
the?
then they
disgusted.
just went back to their joint.
But
They
didn't you
care
just hear
anymore.
that? Didn't you hear the It was like a Marvin James.
miss
What did you
Antigua.
do that for? You should have saved the ball.
Can we please bring back Antigua in the USL?
I don't think it's going to
I don't think.
I know.
Can you? Would you?
You know what
wanna be
happened
on a
is their
constant
stadium
road
got-
schedule.
Their stadium got destroyed by a hurricane. That's why they withdrew. You know that, right?
Well, even before that, I mean, they
That's
had trouble.
why they played that one season all on the road,
Yeah.
because they got destroyed by a hurricane. Sticky Wicket Stadium
was
got
destroyed?
flooded.
Yeah. That was the season they didn't win. Did they ever win
No,
in the
but they
USL?
almost
No,
beat
they
the
almost
Rhinos
beat the
twice.
Rhinos.
They were 0-28. They almost beat the Rhinos twice.
They
though.
had a win in another season though. I think maybe
yeah,
they
yeah.
had one
I think
win in their
or a
whole
tie or
history.
something. But they never. That one season, I remember that was the season when the Rhinos were really, really bad.
I also
They
remember.
almost beat the Rhinos twice.
I
Yeah,
also
the
remember when they-
Rhinos
when,
scored that
when Antigua
go-ahead
came
goal
in,
right at the end. It was 2-1.
They were announced as a Caribbean super team.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
remember that,
maybe In the Caribbean, they are a super
No.
team.
That's how the league was responding. They're like, this is going to be a Caribbean super team, and we're all like, oh.
Well, when you're playing against places like St. Kitts, I guess you have a strong looking lineup on paper.
Yeah.
Listen, the USL has come a really long way. I don't know if you guys remember when the USL first decided, when the leagues first split, the USL and the NASL. The USL brought in Antigua, River Plate, the Puerto Rico Islanders,
the Puerto Rican
all
teams.
these Puerto Rican teams that then left the league a month into the season.
They played
and it
like
looked
4
really,
games.
Well, they
remember
folded.
the international division? They had the American division, the national division, the international division, and then just like 3 weeks of the season, they decided the international division was just gone.
Well, no, the teams folded. I mean,
No, they
River
didn't
Plate
fold.
folded.
I think they just decided that they couldn't afford, or the competition was too high. They were getting beat really bad.
They joined
were
the Puerto Rican Soccer League.
Yeah,
They have
I
a
remember
league
they were
now,
losing
yeah.
like
With
5-0 to like Richmond and Charleston, I think.
Probably, but they came and went so fast. I don't remember the scores or
The
anything.
international division, I thought that was.
They wanted to
goofy.
bring Bermuda in also.
Yeah. I
Bermuda
remember
had
that,
a
Bermuda.
team in USL 2 for a long
Yeah.
time when they had USL 2. If I remember correctly, Bermuda might have had an Open Cup game.
The
with
Bermuda
Rhinos
Hogs.
once.
Bermuda
No,
Hogs
they
were
can't.
good.
They can't because they're
They
not
can't.
in the United States.
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know why.
I
thought
think
that.
the Bermuda Hogs they were called. They
The
were
Bermuda
actually
Hogs,
they were
yeah.
not that bad.
Really, the Bermuda Hogs?
HOGGES. Yeah.
What is that? Is that like?
It's an oink,
It was like a
oink,
pig.
hog.
It is, but why are there 2 G's?
That's how they
say it.
spell it in Bermuda.
they say
I
it.
guess they were
Hogs.
actually
Just 1 G is not enough.
they were actually coached. They had a player coach who had played in the British Premier League. It was Sean Goder, and that was his team. He was a player coach late in his career. They were in USL 2 when that was the 3rd division, and USL was the 2nd division. at that
Wasn't
time.
Wilmington still in?
Yeah,
USL 2
they
back
came from
then?
USL too. Yeah.
Yeah, the Hammerhead, because they were like the powerhouse of USL. too,
Right.
Wilmington.
They're a pretty good USL.
I think Richmond,
USL team
Richmond
now.
was in 2.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Richmond was
Richmond was
down
in
there
2.
for a while. Yeah.
Because they had Matthew Delicott,
Yes.
who was scoring a lot of goals. Before he came to Rochester, he was with Richmond in the division below. And then now he's with Richmond again. He scored this weekend.
You know, the Rhinos, we were like the prom queen, and then we drank
Yeah.
too much and did
Yeah.
too many drugs, and we kind of,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
lost our attractiveness, and we just ended up
Now at the
working
reunion,
at Walmart. You know?
at the reunion, everyone's like, "Man, I can't wait to see."
Right.
Whoa, where's Charleston? Yeah, you're right. You got that.
It's all right. I mean, hey,
it happens. It happens.
listen,
you find
it,
that
it, wor-
sometimes.
it worked out in the end because the USL is a pretty decent league now. I don't think. All right, here's the question: you watch a lot of soccer. Is the USL at the level of the NASL, or is it still a little bit below?
Considering what I saw over the weekend, this is a new USL season. I would have to say the USL is pretty close to the level of NASL. Maybe last year it was lower, but this weekend, especially some of these 2 teams, Seattle Sounders too in particular.
Yeah, but they were playing Vancouver too, so how can you tell?
They were good. They had a couple of forwards that were running all over this defense. I mean, they totally dominated 4-0 against the Vancouver Whitecaps, and Tyler Rosalind was the captain of the Whitecaps too.
Oh, okay.
He went over there.
Yeah, he's
And,
from British Columbia, right?
I know
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
Canadian
yeah.
for sure.
That's good for
And,
Tyler.
But the Sounders too were just incredible. They scored 4 goals and then basically parked the bus. They could have scored 7 or 8 if they wanted to.
Wow.
2 guys to watch: Andy Craven. He's an attacking midfielder, fastest guy I've ever seen play in this league. And Darwin Jones, he's the finisher. He scored a hat trick. And they won
Wow,
4-0.
no way.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Wow.
another one I saw over the weekend, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They look a lot better than I've ever seen them.
Really?
5-2
I knew
over
they-
Harrisburg.
5 goals.
5-2.
I knew
Wow.
Pittsburgh. I knew Pittsburgh is one of those programs that you could just tell they're slowly building it up and trying to build for the future.
Yeah, they were
You could just
kind of
tell that.
rebuilding last season.
Well, they've been rebuilding for a long time, and you can tell that they have losing. They're not worried about it because they're building. They're better. Their stadium's nice.
Oh, I love their stadium.
I mean,
Highmark,
Pittsburgh-
that's beautiful.
Pittsburgh is doing the right thing.
They have also announced their intentions to try and get into MLS within 10 years.
Really?
It's far off
I think
in the
it'll
future.
happen.
Oh,
It
yeah,
will
within,
happen.
Within
It will
10
It could.
years.
Pittsburgh
Within 10
is a
years,
good
yeah.
sports
Within
city.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, and they had a couple of forwards to watch. Kerr and Vincent. These goals were not your typical USL goals. These guys were getting an open spot and just slamming the shots in. Really nice goals to watch. 5-2. Kerr had a hat trick. Vincent scored the other two. And they have a new keeper also, Pittsburgh, and he's a lot better than the other two guys they had in the past.
Now let's
Mr.
talk about the
Strap.
Rhinos. Let's talk about the Rhinos a little bit though. 0-0 tie. Brandon Miller apparently looked pretty good. He saved a penalty kick at the end of the first half.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
I missed the
impressive.
first half.
Yeah, so apparently he played pretty well. And you know, if you think about it, it's opening day. You're on the road. Scoreless tie is not too bad.
Was it a big crowd in New York City?
It looked like about 300.
300?
300?
300?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, but did
That's
they play
too
at Red
bad.
Bull Arena?
Red Bull Arena, yeah.
Did
I would ex-
300
Has a
people-
capacity of 22,000.
I would expect more support from the Red Bull fans.
Well, it was a
uh,
very
even-
cold day.
That's true.
It was like in the
It
30s.
But
I
remember
think.
how big Red Bull Arena? 300 is pretty small. It has to be more. Than that.
I don't think so. It was pretty low.
Did you go with the crew? That went
No,
down?
there were some Rhinos fans I heard though that went.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
we-
were
we
a
know
few.
Some.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
know some.
Representing
All of us
Rochester.
here know
Yep.
some.
Our good
personally.
friends. Yep.
Which is
Yep.
really cool.
It's nice to have traveling supporters.
Oh, yeah.
It shows that the team is well supported.
So
when you have
next
guys
game-
that travel.
They
Oh,
play
yeah.
Pittsburgh next this Saturday.
That's going to be a good game.
That's gonna be another tough one.
Pittsburgh really is a team to watch this year. They look a lot better than I've seen them in the past. Danny Earls is playing for Pittsburgh.
I miss Danny Earls as a Rhino. I really do. I don't care what
Ah.
people say. I don't care what people say. I like Danny Earls.
See, John and I had this conversation off air.
Yes.
We both, for different reasons, said that we're probably happier with him non-Rochester.
A lot of people say that, but it's kind of like the Luke Adam debate with the Amerks.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a big Luke Adams supporter.
And I wasn't.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think-
like Danny Earls.
Right.
Danny Earls did his best when the Rhinos had Steve Guppy, and they played well because they supported each other and they
Number two,
dominated the left
Steve
side.
Guppy.
Yeah.
Number
But,
three.
without somebody else playing with him on the left side, he seems to disappear a little bit into the mix, and he was actually he seemed to get lost in the middle of the pitch,
he does have a knack of sort of like he needs a map.
he
I mean,
need
he does have a
limited
knack
skills,
to
but
it.
what he can do well. He can play on the left flank. He could knock crosses in. He takes good corners, but sometimes he gets a little lost out there. Kind of like one of my other favorite players, Andrew Hoxie.
Hoxie, I was gonna say
Andrew Hoxie.
Hoxie, you are a big fan of Hoxie.
Well, Hoxie can either do amazing things or he can do terrible things. You never know what you're going to get with Hoxie.
Indoor, I think he's fantastic.
I think he
Sometimes.
found his niche with indoor, but outdoor, me and Johnny have had a lot of conversations at games about how Hoxie really needs some one-on-one coaching, and he could be a fantastic player. A lot of these players they're great players, but what I think is missing is at that level, I think people aren't saying, look, we can get this guy and we can mold him and fix him, and I think that doesn't happen enough at this level.
I think Hoxie loses focus sometimes, and I like the way when Pat Erkely was the coach for the Rhinos briefly,
Mhm.
he was using Hoxie as a late sub, and I think that's really where he's shown. He'd come out there and give 20 minutes. And,
Is that what he's been doing for Orange County though?
I watched the Orange County, and for some reason, Hoxie was not in the lineup. He wasn't on the bench. He didn't start, and I haven't heard any news about what's going on with him.
So, John, you're a big USL fan. Do
Yes.
you like the direction the league is going?
Absolutely.
They just announced, by the way, another expansion
that's
team.
great.
Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah,
is
Rio
getting-
Grande.
Rio Grande Valley.
That'll be 25
In
now.
Texas.
25 teams.
I love this
I have a
league.
feeling we might be at 30 next year.
Hmm.
Like, that's how fast the league is growing.
Awesome.
I mean, did you guys like the growth?
I like it.
I do, and I really like the reserve teams, the two teams. I think that's great to be affiliated
There's this
with
guy
MLS.
for New York Red Bulls. He's 16, and he's
Wow.
really good. He's
Yeah.
playing on the Red Bull. On
Yeah,
the Red
there's
Bull
a-
too.
What's his name? He's like
He's a forward, I think, right?
Well, no, I'm trying to think. There was an article about him actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like a phenom.
Yeah.
Well, you never know about these teenagers. Remember
Freddie Adu?
Freddie
Freddie
Adu,
Adu.
What happened to
and,
Freddie Adu?
Well, what happened
he's
was
just not that good.
Well,
Well,
they
I
put
shouldn't
way-
say he's
they
better
put
than
too
me,
much
but-
pressure on him.
Yeah.
He was 13 years old. They ship him over here. They put way too much pressure
Wait,
on
I
him.
thought he's from America.
No, he's from Ghana.
He's from Ghana.
He's from Ghana.
Oh,
He's an
okay,
American
okay.
citizen. He's American now.
Well, naturalized American.
But the thing
he's
is, the
from
poor
Ghana.
kid, they put way too much stress on him at too young of an age. He wasn't mature enough, and I mean, when he started growing, he didn't really grow as much as they thought, and I mean, life happened to him. He was just too young for them to be putting all that pressure on him.
All right,
Well,
guys.
he's good. He's just not as good as they thought he'd be.
We have the coach of the Rochester Rattlers, Tim Soudan, coming up in just a minute here.
One of my
This is
favorite
gonna be a
players
great interview.
growing up.
First, got to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Dr. Brown Eye Care, 880 Long Pond Road in Greece, conveniently located right off of 390, is your home for all of your eye care needs. Guys, they just expanded their office, literally doubled it in size. It looks unbelievably gorgeous. I love this new office.
Awesome.
They have the greatest selection of glasses and sunglasses that you can find, especially for you athletes out there. They have specialty glasses for cycling, golf, tennis, and baseball, and softball as well. They're called Bolle glasses. They're specialty made. I think they're from like Europe or something. They're really,
Johnny,
really.
Are they from Switzerland, Bolle, or Italy?
Oh, I have no idea.
It's from one of those.
Yeah, I
Not
think
in
they're
my
from Europe.
wheelhouse.
They're really, really good-looking glasses, though. They're specially made for sports. This is like stuff you'll see like cyclists in the Tour de France wearing Bolle brand glasses. They have them right here in Rochester, Dr. Brown Eye Care. So if you're an athlete, you wear glasses or contacts, do yourself one up. Get one of these Bolle glasses for sports. It's real close to your eyes. You're gonna have much better vision than with regular glasses. You don't want to be like Bob Wagner of the Lake Michigan Admirals, who wears glasses out of the court, but which I thought was really cool. The really old school, like we're 1950s NBA. When he came out for the last 40 seconds of the game, he was wearing glasses, and I don't know what. All right, I'll go back to Dr. Brown in a second. I don't know what this Bob Wagner's deal was, but when they put him into the game, he was screaming. He was having a screaming fit at the owner of the Lake Michigan Admirals because they were down by this is the championship game Saturday at the Blue Cross Arena. They were down by 17 at that point. The Sharks were going to win. And he was screaming at the owner and the coach and everyone, just freaking out when they put him in the game. And he's 7'8", right? He's so tall. But he has I swear he has mild scoliosis. He's so tall.
He's so tall, it's probably
He
ruined
leans
him.
over.
Yeah.
If he stood up straight, he might hit 8 feet. Swear to God. This is the tallest human being I've ever seen. And people were hitting him up for autographs and pictures, and he was just really angry to go in the game. My guess is that, the owner of the Lake Michigan Admirals had promised Dr. Sev that he would play, and he didn't want to go in because he thought it was, embarrassing because they were down by 17.
Yeah,
he thought it was
yeah.
a freak show kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did anyone really
that's
challenge the RazorSharks
That's exactly
this year?
what it was.
They were 17-0.
They rolled over
They won it all.
everybody.
They rolled over everyone.
They need better competition.
They do.
Yeah.
They really
They
do.
Yeah.
I
But-
think that you're right on that freak
They
show
rolled
thing.
over everybody.
Anyways, you don't want to be like Bob Wagner. Get yourself a pair of actual athletic
Poor
glasses
Bob Wagner.
at Dr. Brown Eye Care, 880 Long Pond Road in Greece. Give him a call today. Tell him you heard him on Rochester Sports Mumblings, 227-7030. All right, we're going to get Tim Soudan on the phone here in just a second. Speaking of the Sharks, they do need some better. They're not going to go D-League. It's not going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
$6 million is a lot.
That's a lot of money.
But I wish they would get some better teams in the PBL. When they had Bloomington in the league, they were really good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they didn't end up getting to play them in the championship because, some argument with Dr. Sev that happened. So
what about the Indiana Diesel?
they were actually good.
Yeah.
They were not.
They were
See,
good,
if
too.
the Sharks had played Bloomington last year, they might have actually lost because they barely beat Indianapolis.
Remember?
That division was really good.
Remember when you made the comparison between the RazorSharks and the Globetrotters and the competition, the Washington Generals?
The Washington Generals.
That's really how it was, especially this season. Tim Soudan.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
Welcome to the show.
No problem.
All right. So this is an exciting time for the Rattlers. The season is coming up pretty soon here. April 12th, you guys open up in Charlotte against the Hounds, and then the home opener at the new stadium in Brockport, April 19th. What's your preparation like now?
We just finished training camp yesterday, so we've narrowed down the group that can start the year, and We're looking pretty good. I feel pretty strong. I mean, Charlotte's in a different position than us. We have a lot of NLL guys and some coaches that have some responsibilities. But all in all, I think this is the best team we have to start a season in the last few. So we're excited.
I wanted to ask you about the NLL thing. You guys have a couple players, especially the Thompson brothers, are still playing in the NLL. The NLL season is barely half over. Do you have any idea why did the Major League Lacrosse decide to move their season up another 2 weeks, which means that all these players that play in the NLL can't play in the MLL until almost halfway through your season? It doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
I just think that, they're separate entities and they're trying to capitalize on the TV. And, I think they're just making decisions that are best for the league as a business rather than, some of the guys that are trying to make a living playing the game. So, I kind of had some conversations with the league office and made my points, but it just, kind of fell on deaf ears. But at the end of the day, it's a business, it's their business, and they have the right to do what they want. I think it's tough. I mean, especially with the winter that we're having this year, that we got stuck practicing inside.
Right.
3 out of our 4 days of training camp, so it's not very conducive to being all that competitive right out of the gate. But
not only that, it seems like if you're looking at it from an outsider's point of view, lacrosse in the United States is a niche sport still. It's not, hockey, and it's not basketball, and it's not soccer. And you would think that the two professional leagues would want to work together to promote the sport in general, instead of trying to compete with each other, especially because they're two completely different games.
They are, but, in their defense a little bit, and I agree. Originally, early on, I played both. When I played, I played both leagues, and if you went deep into the playoffs or you just played in the championship game, it was the weekend that they started training camp. So there was no overlap.
Right.
I've always thought that the football model would probably be a pretty darn good model for the pro situation, because everybody's in lacrosse mode at that time. And if you play Sunday games or whatever, you're going to probably get a pretty good draw in some of the stronger cities. But so I think they're trying to work through a bunch of different concepts, and ticket sales are probably one of their biggest concerns. And with club lacrosse and travel lacrosse in the summer now, it makes it really difficult for teams to sell tickets because all their primary people are out of town, and traveling and playing in lacrosse tournaments.
Speaking of ticket sales, Tim, I love the Rattlers. I'm wearing a John Grant old Rattlers white jersey right now in the studio. I was really, really disappointed, kind of like saddened when I heard that the team was moving to Brockport. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know, maybe you can tell us what you can tell us, but I'm sure it was a financial decision, I'm guessing. Salem Stadium is, it's not perfect, but it's pretty nice. And it looks great on television. A lot of the highlight videos that the MLL used, you could see it's from Salem Stadium, at least, on the field. And you guys are struggling as it was to draw fans, especially last season. It seems like it's going to be a really, really uphill battle to sell much tickets at all this season.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in that whole situation. The stadium as a whole, I think it's a beautiful stadium. I think that, from some of the roadblocks that I heard about people not coming to Salem Stadium because they were afraid of going down there to the city where it's located. And, I think that's just, I don't think it's really a reality. And I think it's just an excuse why some people don't come. And now that it's at Brockport, it's a little longer drive, but, it's in a safe spot. A lot of parking. It's a beautiful stadium. So, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere out there. And, our ticket sales have increased with the fact that we were very successful on the field last year, and
Sure.
I think that just kind of creates the excitement. And a lot of our ticket sales comes from group sales anyway, so it's kind of an event. So driving an extra 15 minutes to go with your whole team, I think, is a pretty good, decent situation. It might hurt walk up a little bit, but I agree the location's a little, it's going to be different for sure, but maybe we'll just get a little different of a demographic. There's a lot of teams on the west side to play. So.
Now, so I heard that this Eunice Kennedy Stadium, it's 11,000 capacity. I'm guessing it's turf, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's turf. It's a really nice stadium. They redid it. They just kind of opened the doors for us, and it's going to be a good partnership.
Cool. All right. Well, maybe it'll work out.
I think it'll actually work out better because, first of all, as someone who played lacrosse myself, I can tell you that lacrosse in the city is not exactly a huge thing on people's mind. And being out more where people who actually play the game are is probably a better thing because a lot of the families who don't want to go to the stadium, there's a reason why. They're not comfortable in that environment. I think this could actually be really good for the team. I do believe, like what Tim said, I think the walk-up will probably suffer, but you're going to have more groups. You're going to have more groups wanting to go. You're going to have like different high school groups and club groups wanting to go. I think it's actually probably one of the better things that could have been done, and I think it was a very good decision. I'm actually glad to hear that they moved out of Salem Stadium.
Now, Tim, we read about last year. I don't know. Again, tell us what you want to tell us, but it sounded like this would be the last year in Rochester. That the league was looking at Georgia, Kennesaw, Georgia, for the Rattlers next season. Is that for sure, or what's the deal with that?
I haven't heard anything along those lines.
Okay.
I know that they're trying to expand. There's so many really, really good players out there that you could put 2 teams in, 4 teams in, and still, if they did it correctly,
sure,
the teams would be successful within a few years anyway. The problem comes down to, are the franchises priced right for, how successful they are financially? And, that's just the business end of things. And I hope it doesn't go away. I certainly hope it doesn't go away. And I haven't heard any rumblings of that. I love Rochester and in lacrosse in Rochester. And, I mean, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I really believe that it's a really good market for it. And, so we'll see what that, my main concern right now is just trying to win a championship, and I think that once we get our whole team in, we're going to be in a good place to, compete again. The power rankings came out; they had us 4th, which makes me feel pretty good because I can hang that over my guys.
I'm surprised actually that you guys weren't higher. I mean, considering you're first overall in the league last year. Losing by a goal. I mean, talk about that championship game. That must have been, kind of a heartbreaker. Losing by a goal.
It was tough. We were up by 5 goals, I think, twice in that game, and it's tough. I mean, the 2-point shot and the way that the way the game's designed. It's quick, and you can lose momentum very quickly, and things can change. And we have one. We were playing pretty solid defense. We just were stagnant offensively at the end of the game. And, one of their guys got topside and scored a 2-pointer to tie it up with like 36 seconds left or something.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe a minute or so. I think with 56 seconds, they scored the go-ahead goal. So it was a heartbreaker, but, it was our first time there. And I got a bunch of young guys, and they're really hungry. And, the fact that they continue to show us no respect, it just helps us build character and continuity and, culture of the team. It's something to strive for. And I kind of like that position better than being a front runner for sure.
Personally, Tim, I love the MLL rules. I love the 2-point shot, and I love the 60-second shot clock. I think it makes a big difference in the game. Sometimes college lacrosse can be a little boring at times, like especially towards the end of the game. I love the MLL game like that.
I do too. It just makes it really, it can change the momentum of the game so quickly. It's exciting. I really like it. I think it's a great set of rules. The shot clock makes the game so much more fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
The shot clock is definitely something that should be considered in the NCAA. The timer on thing is one because it's so objective.
Right. I didn't grow up. I never played lacrosse as a kid, so I was trying to teach myself like college lacrosse just by watching it, and it seemed like I really didn't understand when the referees decided, to call keep it in. It was like if they thought that the other team was stalling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If they're not, see you guys. If they're not attacking the cage, but sometimes when they're attacking the cage and they're the other team's just playing really solid defense, if they're not getting shots off, they still put the timer on.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. That's what I mean. It's so objective.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. It's a good rule, and the fact that it's visible this year, I think it really improves the quality of the college game for sure.
So, talk about speaking of college, we in Rochester have two of the best college lacrosse players in the last decade playing for the Rattlers, the Thompson brothers. Of course, they're in indoor right now, but when they get out of their NLL duties, they'll be back. Talk about how lucky we are to have those two guys.
I'm sorry you broke up on me.
Oh, that's okay. I was just talking about the Thompson brothers.
Okay, so one's at Albany. He got drafted. Lyle's at Albany still in his senior year. He got drafted by Florida. Miles is having a great year. He's contending for Rookie of the Year in the NLL.
Right.
And then we have Ty as well, but he's not playing indoor. He started on an indoor team and he's not playing now. So we have him right out of the gate.
Oh, okay.
Cool. So we're in a really good shape early with our attack with Ty Thompson, Jordan Wolf, who's arguably going to be one of the best attackmen in this league over the next 10 years. And Jeremy Boltis, a kid from Army. He's out of the Syracuse area.
And then, of course, the goalie, Galloway, who's now become, the stalwart of the Rochester defense there. He's back, of course, right?
Yep. So we have John Galloway. Mike Manley plays indoor, who's a kid from Penn Yan. Just a great competitor. And I was just trying to think of some more local guys that we have. But, we had one of the strongest defenses in the league.
Right.
Last year. So,
it always amazes me. I think that outdoor lacrosse goalie has got to be one of the toughest positions in sports because
hands down.
If the ball is the same as an indoor lacrosse, but you have no pads on. I mean, you got to be a little bit nuts.
I played in high school. You have some pads.
What do you have?
You have nothing on your legs. That's the worst. You get hit in the shins and the knees. Nothing on your legs. You have a chest protector.
Still, it's not much.
No, they're very thin. You want to be able to move. Yeah.
The thing that makes it different is that the long poles are out there and guys aren't getting shots from it close.
Right.
True.
They're also able to wind up and shoot it a lot harder.
Sure. There's a lot more room.
It's also a way different style of keeping than indoor as well. I mean, first of all, stick position and how you play it. I mean, you're more of a utility as a field goalie than you are as a box goalie.
And a lot of
you're not trying to get hit by it. Yeah.
You're like a fullback.
Yeah.
On the outdoor game.
a lot of indoor goalies are actually field players outdoors, like Matt
that's
Vince.
True. Yeah, Matt Vince. He was a
like Matt
defenseman.
Vince.
Yeah. He's a defenseman for Canada, right?
So who's he play? Does he play in the MLL as well?
No, I don't think he
No,
plays.
he does not.
Cody Jameson plays for the New York Lizards now.
Yeah, he got picked up.
So.
Yeah. I don't know how much he's going to play, but so a lot of those guys are pretty married to their indoor teams.
Yeah.
In the summertime, so a lot of those guys get paid decent money to play. That Canadian indoor lacrosse, and it kind of doesn't make sense for them to play outdoor.
Especially now with the schedules overlapping, it probably would make even less sense.
Go and win a Minto Cup.
I guess the one thing, maybe about the schedules, is the MLL may become more purely American players than ever because a lot of Canadian players will just go back to Canada in the summer.
Yeah, and vice versa. I think I think you're seeing when I played early in my career, they were only allowed to have 3 Canadian guys on each of the indoor teams, and then once the Major Indoor Lacrosse League went to National Lacrosse League, and there was a divestiture of the ownership, then all of a sudden, it was all you could have as many Canadians as you wanted.
I never knew
limited that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they limited it because of the travel, because Buffalo and Detroit were so close to the border that they would have a distinct
they get
advantage.
stacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that Detroit had it. The
Detroit Turbos,
right?
Yeah.
What was that? How was that
God.
playing in
They were
Detroit?
awesome.
Was that a
It was all
crazy
Gary
atmosphere over
Gates
there?
and- What's that?
Was that like a crazy atmosphere in Detroit? You got to think it's Detroit. People are pretty rowdy over there.
And a good team too.
It was awesome to play there. Joe Louis Arena. It was unbelievable. And they had Paul and Gary. They were really really good. They won a championship early on, so must have been in like 92, 91 or 92. They won one. Good stuff.
I find it interesting that cities like Detroit, Baltimore, Boston that had teams and atmosphere. What happened? Where did they go? How come they can't even feel the team anymore?
Weird, yeah.
I mean,
like Baltimore.
Yeah.
Huge.
Baltimore they've been such traditionalists that they wouldn't come out and see the game.
That makes sense.
But in Boston, because I started my career in Boston, I played 4 years in Boston. It was actually really good there. We used to draw 10,000 people there, which looked small in that arena. But at the same time, it was pretty good. But when the new arena was built, the cost to rent that place for one game was astronomical.
Just price them out.
The rent is too damn high.
Yeah.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
You played over a decade with the Nighthawks. I was just thinking back, like there were a lot of cities. Kind of, it lasted for like 1 year. We had Anaheim, Pittsburgh,
Washington,
Columbus,
New York, Long Island,
San Jose.
Yep.
There were a lot of different cities that you guys end up going to. Arizona, where you won the championship.
Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah. It was a great time. I got to see and play in a lot of really cool buildings. My second year and third year I played lacrosse. We played in the old Boston Garden. And that place just was awesome. And playing up in the old Maple Leaf Garden was, a trip because there was no glass behind you. There was like a corridor, a walking corridor behind the bench.
Really?
So it was such a different atmosphere.
Oh God!
So the fans were just harassing you.
Oh
right.
my God! Oh
screaming at the back of your head.
Oh my God! Boy, Tim, you must be pretty happy, about the Nighthawks. 3 straight championships and looking pretty good this year as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's over the last few years, I've been much more inclined to go, and I kind of missed it pretty bad for the first couple of years. And then, over the last 4 years, my son's getting to the age, he's a 7th grader now, that he can go sit through a game and be interested, So he gets really excited to go now, and it's kind of really rejuvenated my attention to it. And I've been really proud of it. Really proud of those guys.
Very cool. Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. This is really
this
cool.
Has been great.
Cool segment. I love talking lacrosse, and thanks for coming on. You guys,
not a problem.
The home opener, April 19th versus the New York Lizards at Eunice Kennedy Shriver Stadium. So I'm guessing it's right on the campus there, off 31.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Easy to get to. A lot of parking. Stadium's beautiful. It's gonna be awesome.
All right, so 1 o'clock.
We'll see you there
on Sunday, April 19th, and tickets are just $15. So pretty inexpensive to see the best outdoor lacrosse in the world.
That's great.
Tim, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again later this year.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
All right.
Bye.
I'm excited about that. I'm so glad.
You like the move?
I'm so glad they did
it.
That's because you don't.
Like
I don't think you understand how bad that was for them.
I don't know. All right, so
Okay, here's the thing. Let's just be honest. I played lacrosse. I played hockey growing up. There's a reason why people aren't going there, and the demographic of people who typically play lacrosse, they don't want to go there. Then they made
how
that.
Is that
they
different
made
than
they
the
made
demographic
that.
of people who play soccer.
They
it's
made
pretty
that.
similar.
Well, and look at what happened there. They made it well known that they didn't want the stadium in that location.
I always hear about the parking at Salem Stadium. I don't know
it's not
why.
Great.
I don't know why they don't advertise. They have that stadium lot. It easily holds a few hundred cars. You have to pay a few dollars more, but it's the best place to park. I've always felt totally safe parking there. Now, if you're parked on the street, you might lose a side view mirror or something like that. But you park in that stadium lot.
Come on.
Don't be a cheapskate. You know,
I went there hundreds of times. Never had a problem.
Yeah, but the thing
Never
is,
had one
when
problem.
you're dealing
and I park on the street usually.
When you're dealing with people, especially with lacrosse, you're dealing with a lot of very suburbanite people who don't spend much time in the city. And I think that the best move they could have made, I personally think the best move they could have made would have been like Naz or St. John Fisher, a traditional lacrosse college that people are familiar with. But moving this year to Brockport,
a good college?
It's not like St. John Fisher or Nazareth that are known for it. I mean, Naz and St. John Fisher are like lacrosse schools. They are known for lacrosse. They are known for that. People go there just for that. They have a huge rivalry. But then again, I don't think they have the facility that Brockport has. They don't have the money that Brockport has. They're not a state school. So I think that the best thing they could have done, given that, I mean, they need to do something. I think this is the best thing they could have done. And I think that you'll see a lot more groups of people willing to go because one thing, I mean, remember, you grew up right in Irondequoit, which is basically, it's basically Rochester. I grew up in Scottsville, and people from the suburbs, like a lot of times, make a big deal coming in, and, I think this may really help. It's just what it is. Come on, I mean, we know
let's
that.
be honest. Let's all be honest. I think they're probably saying that's the reason. I'm sure it was either a financial decision or some sort of argument with the Rhinos.
They're not filling up the stadium.
Oh, absolutely.
They're putting 1,100 people in Shaylin Stadium.
I bet the Rhinos raised the rent or something, or the city raised the rent. I don't know how that works.
Too damn high.
I don't know how that works, but
we gotta do this.
Yeah, in a minute. Just
I gotta work today, so if we're gonna do it, we need to do it because I gotta work.
Okay, all right. So, all right, our friends from Leroy Discount Liquor are here. Johnny, what do you have for us?
This is our featured product this week. We have Canadian Club 9-year reserve Canadian whiskey. I noticed the quality of this product is really exceptional, and it goes for half the price of a lot of other popular brands. Thinking about one that comes in a blue box. I don't want to knock any other brands. We sell them all. But this one is only $25 for a mag plus tax. 16 and change for a 750 ml bottle. What do we have here in the background?
The rent is too damn high.
Oh yeah. Well, in all business, follow the money, like their decision moving these.
All right, and you guys are gonna try this?
Yeah, we're gonna try.
Try just a little bit.
All right.
Don't drink and drive, obviously.
This will reduce the cost. You cut the rent down.
Whoa there, John.
To give business owners the chance to hire people. To give business owners the chance to hire people. That is it.
All right, let's try this.
Consider your average maybe $30-$35
really
bottle
good.
of whiskey. You have something here that's about half the price. Would you pay $16 for a bottle of this?
Yes.
All right.
You know I would, Johnny. You know I would. And you know what?
We have a winner.
You know what, folks? This is delicious. This is Johnny's. This is your new product. Canadian Club Reserve blended Canadian whiskey, folks. Leroy Discount Liquor, $16. This is. I just tried some.
I think that's the price.
Yeah.
128 West Main
delicious.
Street in Leroy?
Delicious.
Right next to
Thank you.
Tops in Leroy.
And the Chinese restaurant.
Come check out our selection of whiskey, wine, and everything else.
So,
right next to what? The Chinese
I
place?
already said the Chinese
to Tops.
restaurant.
Well, he always
No,
says
the-
next to the Chinese
The
restaurant.
Chinese restaurant
Which you
is
don't
down
like,
the road.
right?
Good friends of ours there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Chinese restaurant.
Oh, you do? Is the food good?
It's good enough.
Okay.
Well,
What's good enough there? Tell me.
At the Chinese place?
Yeah, the
I usually,
Wushu, Kung Pao.
I actually, they do vegetarian dishes very well. I actually get
that's
the
good. I'm a
tofu with
vegetarian.
Hey, there you go. You can
vegetables
eat there,
and,
Matt.
Okay.
Vegetable spring rolls. Yeah, I think
I
you
can't
might
hear
like
out
that.
of my right.
Neither can I.
headphone
Same
either.
thing happened to me. And I got to drink a few water. This is strong. That's good stuff.
All
Good
right.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of lacrosse, what happened to the Nighthawks?
Oh my
How
God.
do they go from winning 5 in a row or 6 in a row to scoring 3 goals in a whole game? It's
That
lacrosse, not hockey. What happened?
I don't know. I don't. But just I think it was too much time off.
I agree. They only played 2 games in a month. That was their second game
They
in
got rusty.
4 weeks.
They got
I agree.
rusty.
I blame it on the schedule. You know. Remember Cody Jamieson said that he thought that their schedule was a little unfair. 'Cause
Yeah.
They had played a bunch of back-to-backs earlier in the year, and then they had to play just 2 games over the course of 4 weekends. And that's tough.
That's because I mean, athletes like anyone else, your body. You know what they say? A body in motion stays in motion. They're just like anyone else. They get some time to relax. They're gonna relax.
I'll tell you what though, Edmonton looks pretty goddamn tough. I think if we had to guess right now, I'm gonna pick a Rochester Edmonton final.
Toronto's looking pretty good.
I think come on, we're gonna beat Toronto in the East Division final.
Well, I love the Nighthawks. I love me some Hawks, but Toronto's looking pretty good.
I know they're looking good. I just told you
Okay.
though. I'm telling you, the Nighthawks will be back.
I
fourth
think we
straight
might see a
championship game.
Toronto Edmonton. I love Hawks. I love you. You know that I've been a loyal fan since 1996, but I kind of think Toronto might have our number this year,
Speaking of,
but not Buffalo.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, Buffalo's not gonna. Here's what'll happen. It'll be Rochester, or excuse me. It'll be Rochester Buffalo probably in the quarterfinal, and then the semifinal, Rochester Toronto, final Rochester Edmonton. Lock it down. Lock it down right now. Lock it down. It's done.
No, I don't think so. I hate to say it.
After you take shots and you're trying to do the show, you just
I don't think so.
you can't talk very well.
I wouldn't exactly call that shots.
That's not a shot, man. It, was
It
this
looked
much.
like a shot. What else?
It
would you
wasn't
call
shots.
it? What else would you call it?
No, but no, for real. Toronto is looking very good.
All right. Let's wrap this up.
now you're mad because I said that they might
I'm
do
a
it.
little bit upset actually.
They,
That
I
you don't
want
have
them.
faith that you don't have faith.
I
in the
want
Nighthawks.
them to,
And
but
the team that
Toronto
just
is on fire.
But the team that just won 3 straight championships
and lost 11-3.
You don't. They lost 1 game. It was 16
Pretty.
to 3.
It's 16. Oh yeah,
It
that's
was
right.
1 game.
Pretty astounding.
One
loss,
game.
Do
though.
they have multiple point scoring in this sport, or is that
No.
No,
one
it's just
point?
everything's
No.
1 goal.
Matt, Toronto is. All I'm saying is Toronto is looking amazing, and they props where props are due.
All right, I'm going to tell you about another one of our lovely sponsors, Rochester Sports and Physical Therapy 2. You can find them right off of the Calkins Road exit off 390 in Henrietta. It's your home for all of your physical therapy needs. My physical therapist there, Katie, she's wonderful. She's been doing this for over 2 decades. They have all the physical therapy equipment you could possibly ever need. Fantastic place. Whether you need to rehab from a knee surgery like me, you got back pain, shoulder pain, shoulder problems, sprained ankle, anything like that, head over to Rochester Sports and Physical Therapy. The best part is you don't even need a prescription from your doctor. Most insurances cover at least 10 visits to a physical therapist for any reason. Give them a call today to schedule your first visit, 334-8090. John, you're a big Rhinos guy. What do you expect from the team this year?
I hope we see a few more goals. I really don't think they're going to let in that many goals. I think we got some good defenders that I saw in action in preseason. I'm just hoping some of these forwards can find their scoring touch. We got a guy from Cape Verde, big guy, Dos
Where
Santos.
is Cape Verde?
Cape Verde is,
South
I
Africa?
believe it's an island off the coast of Africa.
It's South Africa.
South
Yeah, that's
Africa.
right off South Africa. That's
Mhm.
where the what's that cape where all the boats used to crash?
Cape of Good Hope.
Cape of Good Hope,
Yeah,
right on the
because
tip.
Good
yeah.
Hope, because you need good hope
Right.
to survive going around it, right?
A lot of sharks, Cape of Good Hope, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well-known shark territory.
Speaking of sharks, there's another new Finley for the championship game,
Yeah.
and he put on a little bit of weight, like a lot of weight. It was a
So was
chubby.
the,
it was
was
a
the
chubby
costume
Finley.
not fitting?
Is this
at all?
somebody we know?
No, I don't.
Oh.
No,
I was gonna.
I don't think
Finley.
so.
Oh,
No, yeah, it was. It was.
Costume didn't fit.
It was a very chubby Finley.
Hey, at least come on. They're trying. That
I
takes
know.
courage.
You know, it was a very good crowd for the
How,
championship game.
really?
Well, they announced it at 6,100, so take it for what it's worth. But it was bigger than every other game this year. And not only that, they had 3 professional wrestlers that people actually. I
Oh,
don't
wow.
know anything.
Who is there?
Jimmy Superfly Snuka, right?
No,
He does a lot of appearances.
Coco Beware.
Oh yeah, Coco. That's right.
Coco Beware. Oh, yeah. He's from the 80s.
Tito Santana,
Tito Santana, yep.
and
Ricky
Greg the
Steamboat?
Hammer Valentine.
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Yeah.
Yes, the figure 4 leg lock. I remember him from the 80s.
And they all went out onto the court during halftime and did a
Did they
speech.
wrestle?
No, they just passed
Oh.
the microphone back and forth and did little speeches. And Coco Beware was like, he's like, yeah, and all you basketball players and basketball coaches, you guys just keep on doing what you doing, man. You guys are doing great. You guys are being great at this sport. Just keep on doing what you're doing, man. Thank you, Rochester.
Okay.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Well, I mean,
Well,
okay.
My Coco Beware
But,
impression.
the best thing about wrestling in the 80s, something I remember fondly, was wrestlers like Tito Santana and Coco Beware. It's not politically correct to make these types of jokes anymore, but there was an announcer.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, John.
Do it. Do it.
Don't
Do it. Do it. Do it.
It's a
Do it.
family-friendly
No,
podcast.
there
was-
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Do it.
Don't
Do it.
Don't do it.
Do it.
There was an announcer, Bobby Heenan, who used to make the most hilarious wisecracks about some of the wrestlers in the 80s. I don't know, maybe some of you listening might remember, and you just can't do that anymore.
Well, I
That's
don't
all
know
I
what
was
you're
going to
talking
say,
about, though.
guys.
Do it because you know me.
Forget
I'm
it.
not big into political correctness. Do
Listen,
it. Do it.
Politically incorrect jokes.
By the way, that championship game,
John knows what I'm talking about.
that championship game, our boy Jerice Crouch, who was a guest on the show, won the game by himself. 3 straight 3-pointers in the fourth quarter to take over the game. I turned back to my friend and said, "That's it, game's over." He hit 3 threes in about 40 seconds time. Fantastic, 32
Jerice
points
Crouch.
for Jerice Crouch. Hopefully he'll be
He's the
back.
man.
Hopefully, apparently the Sharks will be back. The league
Of course they will.
will be back. I just hope they get some better teams, and I hope they finish the season. I hope they play 20 games plus playoffs. So.
I think some things need to happen there, but hopefully they have a conference.
All right.
In
Okay.
it's
Did you guys finish that?
No, the thing is-
you're a little lagging right now.
no, it's not that I'm lagging. I don't want to
A
say.
little bit, a
I don't
little
want to
bit.
say something
No,
bad. I
okay.
mean, okay, well, I'll just say it.
He's choosing his words carefully.
The thing is, this has just been, it's been kind of, bad showing on the league. I mean, this is kind of embarrassing.
This was an embarrassing game.
And I just don't want to, I respect their sponsors, but this needs to
Yeah,
change.
they need to get it looking a little bit more legitimate next year.
Yeah, because
Listen.
the best comparison that I've heard was the Harlem Globetrotters, Washington Generals.
Right.
That's just what it's been.
Here-
We're the Globetrotters and everyone else is the Generals.
Here's all I ask. Finish the season. Have a set number of teams that each play the same number of games and finish the season and have an actual playoffs where you have 2 rounds. Not just a championship series. You have a semifinal and a final.
Well, just like you said,
they used
work
to
on
do.
finishing the season.
Yeah, but finish the season. Every other, team we has finishes the season.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's all I ask. But we'll see what happens.
It'd be nice to have competition too.
Yeah, it would be nice to have a little bit better.
But I
competition.
never doubted that they would have not have gone 20-0. I never doubted it. Like when Jerice Crouch said
they
we were going to
would've.
go 20-1, I'm
They-
like, of course
they didn't have a chance to.
But it was just like, well, remember when he was on the show and he goes, "We
Which
want
is
to go 20-0."
kind of
I'm
shame.
Well, of
It's
course
like
you're going to go
it's like
20-0.
all right, it's like this. Kentucky's 38-0 right now in college hoops. It'd be like if the NCAA said, "You know what? We all got together and decided that we're just going to end the season right now. So Kentucky's 38-0. We have four co-champions." Obviously, that would never happen, but it's kind of the same deal. You know,
Well, it's kind of a long shot.
I'm making a comparison. All right, go finish your thing. All right, we got to
What
tell
are
you.
you talking about?
We got to tell you about another sponsor, Joey's Place, 936 Portland Avenue. You know what? You know where I'm going after this?
Joey's place. Let me
Yeah.
guess.
You know why?
You need an oil
Because
change.
you need an oil change.
No.
Because
You
your
need new
car
brakes.
is not working right.
Yes, correct.
That's not a shock, given if you know anything
I've
about
seen his
his
car.
and how he takes care of it. This is not a surprise.
Anyways, brakes are a little rough. So I'm heading over to Mark Sotili's Joey's Place right after the show. You should join me there. Get your car fixed. 9:30. Well, call him first, but 936
Making
Portland
a point.
Avenue.
Making a point.
319-4562. Most reasonable prices in all Rochester. Trust me.
$15.95
His prices are
for
very
an oil
reasonable.
change.
And yes, he has $15.95 oil changes for fans of the show. Just mention Sports Mumblings or Rochester Sports
Are
Mumblings.
you okay? Have you had too much?
No, I'm trying. That's why I want to change the name of the show.
Sports rumbling.
Yes.
Someone pays with a card. Doesn't Mark lose money on that deal?
What?
Really?
I would think so.
What are you talking
16
about?
Well, he's a business
You
owner,
have a
so
$16
explain that,
oil
yeah.
change. Somebody throws a card at you. Now you're only making 15.
It's $15.95.
$16.
Who mentioned credit cards?
I was just saying
that-
how
I-
low.
No, you-
I was just saying how low the price is for his oil change.
You just have a vendetta
All I
against
was
people that use credit cards.
I do.
You do.
Why?
And
I
am
remember when I
happy to
came to the
broadcast
store
it.
one time as your good buddy and I pulled my card out. It literally was almost like you didn't know me anymore. You're like, oh. And I'm like, that's all I got, man. But I understand coming from a business
Why don't you
owner's
like
point of
people
view.
that use credit cards?
They lose money if it's too low.
A business lose every time you use a credit card. A business loses money because it's to pay the credit card fee, and the credit cards for about every $25 in credit cards you swipe, you lose $1. Now $1 for 25. Okay, you might say, oh, you're a cheapskate. Well, the profit you have to consider what you're paying for the product in the first place, and you're maybe making $4 on a sale. Now you're making $3. Because somebody puts a card at you. You're a small business. You want to keep prices low, but unfortunately, people.
What
use
if you
cards
put
so
up a
much.
sign that just said, no credit cards?
Well,
60% are using. You got to live with it. You got to live with it. I'll just complain about it. I'll continue to take them, but I'll just complain about it.
All right, we're going to wrap this up in a second. We got one more sponsor we got to tell you about.
is that your favorite sponsor?
Yeah, hold on. I don't know if this is going to work.
No. It's not going to work. I mean, unless we're talking about a haunted house.
Oh, wow. What's going on here?
Let's try this one. What do you think?
Give it a minute.
Ooh,
Yeah, this will
I
work.
like it.
Yep, this will
I hope
work.
it kicks in, though.
It will.
I don't know if it's going to kick.
I think this might work, though. I mean, a slow,
Yeah, but is it going to kick at all? Oh, yeah. All right, then we're talking about the Mirage 414 Westridge Road. 414 Westridge Road in Greece. This is your home for... It is the official strip club of Rochester Sports Club.
There you go. Yeah.
And
Best beer.
I'll tell you this.
Coldest beer.
The Mirage strippers are now the official strippers of Rochester Sports Club.
Yeah.
All right. We need to bring a couple in studio.
And I'll tell you this. The Mirage DJ is the official DJ of Rochester Sports Club.
And who might that be?
Yeah, who might that be?
And I'll tell you this. The Mirage manager, the official manager of Rochester Sports Club. And I'll
Just
tell you
getting
this.
a little silly.
The Mirage coldest beer in town. The official coldest beer in town of Rochester.
All right.
John likes that.
He does.
I'll tell you this. The Mirage parking lot. The official
I like
lot
the
of
parking
Rattlers.
lot there. They have a good parking lot. They have a big
That's
parking
important.
lot. They have a good parking lot.
You need a
Actually,
place to park.
the music didn't work. Actually, I think they're.
I like their parking lot.
Yeah, but their parking lot's actually owned by the city.
Oh, so they share it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually there.
But because
So-
they have that bank that went out of
Thank you to
business, they
City
have
of
a
Rochester
huge-
for the official parking lot of Rochester Sports Mumblings.
We love the city of Rochester.
Yes, we do.
And
Yes,
everything
we
they
do.
And I'll tell you this, one more thing, John.
Yes.
John,
Yes.
the Mirage,
Yes.
414 Westridge Road,
Yes.
the official greatest place in the world, and the official greatest sponsor of Rochester Sports Mumblings.
All right.
All right.
All right. And that means you guys should go there.
Go there.
Now, can they go there on a Monday like
You go
today?
there on a Monday. You go there on a Tuesday. You go there on a Wednesday. John, you can even go on a Thursday or a Friday or a Saturday or, oh my God, a Sunday. You go
You know
7
what?
days a week.
When do they have the best specials?
Every day
Every
of the
day,
week.
that's what I was
I'm going
looking for.
insane at how good these specials are. I can't take it anymore.
throwing his
about how
headphones
He
on.
much
just
I
threw
love
his
the Mirage.
headphones. And you know what? You should love it that much too, folks.
I think we're overmodulating a little bit here. Sorry, Gary. Actually, I'm the one that has to edit it, so. That is the Mirage, 414 West Ridge Road in Rochester, corner of Ridge Road and Dewey. Honestly, love it there. Go there, support our sponsors. Joey's Place, Mirage, Leroy Discount Liquor, Rochester Sports and Physical Therapy, Dr. Brown Eye Care. Also, RockSportsNetwork.com, Matt and Matt on Ice, local regional
big
hockey news and
schmoz.
views. The Big Schmoz, local national wrestling happenings, and updates hosted by superstar Rob Schultz and Ivan the Impaler.
I love
You know
that
Ivan
name.
the Impaler?
No.
I love that name.
He once made the Iron Sheik piss himself. I heard. Local high school sports broadcast also on
I think he was the one that had the shot.
And live streaming of men's and women's high school lacrosse coming up very soon on Rock Sports Network, RockSportsNetwork.com. Also, late night sports radio.com.
Don't forget our friends
You
at
can hear
Chamber
us
Boys.
on Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Don't forget about the Chamber Boys. We will be back. Our new time. If you guys like listening live, I know
Yeah.
some of you do. We're going to be broadcasting in the afternoons now. Monday at 2 p.m.
All right.
It's going to be our time.
It works.
But if you can't hear us live, and I know most of you can't, latenightsportsradio.com, 10 o'clock, it comes out every Tuesday. And then you can also find all of our shows on rocksportsnetwork.com. Okay? So listen to us when you can. We'll
Yes, thank you for
we'll have
listening.
some
Thank
another excellent guest for you next week. I can't say who it is yet, but we're going to have an excellent guest for you next week. And we will talk to you then. Johnny, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you
hope
for having
I hope
me.
you enjoyed it.
I really did.
All right, we'll
Thank
have you on again. All right.
All right, Rochester.
night, guys.
Good night.